Hi, welcome back to another video. And this one I'm going to be trying to make my own lumber again, like I did before. But instead of using poplar this time, I got cedar right here. And I'm going to try and cut this up 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe this way. And I'm going to try and make actual pieces of lumber this time, like 1x1s. My goal is, if I can get enough good working lumber out of this, my goal is to make a little stool or a seat for me. Otherwise, I'll have to make another box or something with whatever works. We'll see what I get out of it. And I also have this little piece here that I will try getting some lumber out of this as well. Again, it's going to be just 1x1s. But let's see what I can do. My first step, because I want to get the 1x1 specifically, is to try and mark out where all my cuts are going to be. Instead of last time I kind of just winged it all, just to see if I could do it, right? Now is when I'm really starting to work on my finessing skills. So I'm going to take my tape measure and my pencil, and I'm going to mark out. Now, I don't know if you remember from my last video, but when you buy lumber, finished lumber, it's never the measurement that they say it is. You buy a 2x4, it's not actually 2 inches by 4 inches. It's 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. So I'll be marking out every 1 inch, and with the splitting and the cutting, it will be less than an inch, but that's okay because that's normal. So let's get to marking the wood. Okay, so I got them marked off. They're not 100% accurate. If you look, the markings here were wrong. I don't know why, but when I started using the straight edge, maybe my tape measure moved, so I kind of compensated. So these last two aren't going to be 100% perfect, but so I'm going to redo it on this side because I want them to be flat. The whole point of this is to make it look nice. So I'm gonna redo the measurements on this side and try to make it look perfect. That actually looks a lot better now, a lot more straight, a lot more even. So I'm glad I did that instead of, normally I had the desire to say, oh, let's just see how it works, and it wouldn't have worked. So I'm glad we did that. So let's start trying to cut these into slabs, into pieces, and see what we get. So you'll notice I'm going to be using this axe instead of this one. If you watched my last video, I used this one, but I had explained that the curve was really round on one side versus the other, and it was throwing my cuts off. Now my pieces of wood, the axe was sliding out, so they weren't splitting all the way through. This one, it's a lot more even. It's more sharp. It's been taken better care of, and also the actual cutting part is more narrow and not as round because it's always keeping it sharp. This is the axe I use all the time. And the other benefit, which I just kind of noticed, is this head is actually a little bit bigger. Not by much, but just enough where it could help us out still. This one is a little bit smaller. But so if you notice, that's why I'm using a different axe. And let's start splitting. Okay, we got one. This one turned out really straight. Came out nice and straight. But you might be wondering what this big thing is, and that's actually the knot in the wood. People always talk about knots, and there it is right there. Now, the interesting thing about the knots, you might not know, because every time you get finished product, it's filled. But that's not because they use the knot. When the knot comes out like that, they actually fill it and finish it. So there's someone whose specific job in a sawmill is to look for stuff just like that. And then they have little pieces of wood that they'll stick in there with some glue or something, and they'll fill it and finish it so there's no hole. We're not going to be worrying about that right now because this isn't for insulation. It's like before, it's not for building purposes. We're just going to leave the hole as it is. But other than that, actually it's working really nice. The cedar is really dry, so hopefully that's not going to cause us problems. But let's keep going and see what we get. I know you're probably, I'm slowly sliding over here. I know you're probably wondering what happened. There was another knot in here. Right here. And that caused this part to be a lot more attached than the other half. So even though I was wedging it evenly, this knot was holding onto this half, but this knot was holding onto the middle, and this part kind of just peeled off separately. So this piece of wood might not be good to use, because looking on the outside, we're going to run into a lot of those problems. There are a lot of knots in here. And there's probably a lot of people who are watching this, when I first held this up, probably going, oh no, look at all the knots. Here we go. You don't want the knots. I knew that. I knew knots are bad, but I wanted to see what would happen, guys, so I could see it for myself and I can learn and I can show you what happens when you get knots, so you can see the mistakes. You get to see why not to do it instead of just being told. So I'm going to keep going. Hopefully it starts to split more evenly again. I'm just going to keep going, and I only got 3 more to do anyway, so let's see what we get. I just broke my wedge. And I think I know why. That's why. Nice big knot right there. It's a very knotty piece of wood. I only have one more to do. Well, might as well go for broke, right? That was cool. We actually got some usable pieces. This one's actually turned out pretty good. It's a little bit lumpy down here, as you can see like that. This side's really nice. So we're gonna try and figure out what to do with that. The end pieces turned out really nice. The end pieces turned out really flat all the way around. Smooth. This one seems like it might be a little bit crooked. If you can, oh yeah, you can totally see that. See my side straight, and that's definitely crooked. This end piece was really nice here. This piece is not really good at all. These pieces, by the way, are not garbage. You can actually use them to make dowels. They're like, kind of like this, but smaller, or, well, they come in all sizes, but that's like a dowel. And you use them, a lot of people will notice you see them with shelving units. When you buy a shelving unit, you get those little pins or those pegs, wooden pegs, those are dowels. So you can use that to make a dowel, which will be one of my videos here. This piece it's okay, not bad. Again, this one's also not too bad. And then this one is good on this side, but this is the one that really messed up here when we hit the knots there, right? And the problem with this now is it needs to be trimmed. But if I could do that, I wouldn't be learning how, I wouldn't be trying to split the wood, because I'd just be able to cut them up like that. So obviously I don't have the right saws or tools to fix this here. And because of the knots, it looks like it's pretty, I'm not going to be able to split that. It's pretty tight in there. So I'm hoping I can use this for something else. This side still is flat, so it would be nice for a step or something if I could somehow figure out a way to nail on the other sides. So let's, I'm going to go through all this wood here and see what I can build out of this stuff. I don't want to cut them any more than this until the 1x1s, like I was saying before, because none of them are square. You know, so if I cut this into 1x1s, they're just gonna be a bunch of random pieces of kindling, pretty much. See, like even with this, if it all turned out like that, straight across, then yeah, I could get a couple out of the deal, but they didn't. So I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. I think the reason why it split like this, so uneven, was it was a very knotty piece of wood, and it's also very dry. This was wood that's been sitting around all year. It's very dry, and so it cracked really easily. As soon as it started to get pressure in the wrong spot, it cracked, it split, it did what we don't want it to do. So like I said in my earlier video, fresh trees are the easiest when you're coming to split. And so because it has more give, it's not gonna crack or bust like this as easily, right? So super dry, you want this that's a lot more smooth here. So I think I'm ready to go to the farmer's market and start selling stools. What do you think? Oh yeah, that's a beauty right there. Okay, well let's see if I can stand on it. Don't try this at home. Oh yeah, this is... There we go, perfect. Now obviously I knew that wasn't gonna work. I'm not dumb. That was just for fun. I was just messing around, got bored, whatever. The whole point of this video or experiment was to try and get these off, and it didn't really work. So there's something there that I'm not doing right. I gotta figure out what that is. I don't know if it's finding out well, I think it's a combination. Having less knotty wood and also making sure the wood's not dry when I try to do this. You dry it after, right? I just wanted to see what would happen. I knew it wasn't going to work out well because I knew it had lots of knots and I knew it was really dry. But I wanted to try it anyway. And that stool thing was just a joke. I knew it wasn't going to hold my weight. I knew it was ugly. I didn't do any measurements. I just nailed it together just for fun and for comic relief. So until next time, that's my video this time. Nothing really to learn there, just what not to do. And keep going. See if I can figure something out.